Happy Friday to those that it's Friday for. Happy wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the upstream marketing meeting. May you be a ray of sunshine, as Chris just showed off. Welcome. Happy to see you all. It's been a minute on my end. A lot of change over here, but it's great to see a bunch of people still coming to this meeting and sharing in the upstream marketing contributor comm space. So great. Add anything you'd like to the agenda, and we just kind of start from the top and work our way down. But we'd like to kick it off with some celebrations. Have there been any sort of big wins that we want to point out?
There are. I just don't remember.
Yeah, which is exactly why we save space to this meeting.
I know, right?
Meeting to attempt to recall.
Dewan, did your article, is it done, getting pushed? What state is it in?
It's in the writing state. So I guess in progress state. It's cool. It's unbelievably different when you hear someone talk, right? And like when we talk, it's a different way of saying stuff. But when you try to write it in, the multiple words, like it's the first time my brain is going through this challenge where I have to convert audio into text in a readable way.
Yeah.
Can I not give you a transcript?
Yes, the transcript also has like the exact words, like the
of course. Shit, I didn't. Sorry.
Well, what's good about that? That's worth celebrating. Congratulations on working through this process for the first time. I think it is a really great exercise to think through how do I translate a very different mean of communication into another. And there are definitely some helpful tricks. Like one of my go-tos is to recognize themes and then to quote people as you write about the theme. So like, let's say we wander like wild when we're talking to each other, but like an article, it's nice when it has like beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're doing great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is also an experience where my future suggestion would be just to pass on the questions as text form, like either have a video interview or have a text interview, but not like a video to text, because that would take a lot of effort. Just passing on the questions to them, they can fill it on their own time, probably would be my takeaway.
Okay. That's good. Like we can develop sets of questions too, based on, are they a SIG lead? Are they a contributor? Docs versus, we can kind of go down that route a little bit, I feel like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, so, great. Anything?
That's awesome.
Anything else people want to highlight or celebrate? Well, I just
didn't you announce, was it this week or last week that you announced something?
Me? It is gonna be this week, so I should give an update. Okay. I buried the lead a little in the agenda, but I do want to say I'm officially going to be stepping down from the program lead of the contributor comms team here. It's been such an honor and pleasure to meet with folks. Honestly, over the pandemic, it really anchored me in this community and gave me a regular sense of meaning in a lot of ways in the open source space. So I'm really thankful for it. At the same time, I have got some different things going on in my life. The biggest thing I announced was that I've got a daughter on the way in a couple months, but it's very much 180'd my attention to other things. So I need some space to figure out this new wonderful experience and to accept the first pull request on that before I worry about any in Kubernetes for a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of share it out further, and I've started to message people that have talked about being interested in leading. And I really want the pull request that establishes what we've done and updates a lot of the unknowns that we had a year ago when we were just starting out, and solidifies that we do have pretty solid practices in this team that will continue to evolve. But I would feel really good if that baseline of 6, or what is it? It's 59889. I really want to get that reviewed and merged, and I've pinged Paris and Bob about it. But if any of you want to tag in and look at it, That's in my book, the official, like what we do here and how it's been working. And I hope you all keep coming and keep iterating, and I'll certainly join when I can. But yeah, officially looking for a new program lead.
I will throw my hat in the ring, as I have just started a new job at AWS, and they have asked me what I want to do. So I said I would like to do this, if y'all think it's wise. I did recognize that we didn't do a good job initially writing governance.
Yeah,
so I went to that and I looked.
So there isn't
empty.
It was empty in there. The pull request down there, I wrote
Okay.
out ones based on Kubernetes best practices and sort of reasonable ones we've been doing. That effectively we have there aren't completely separate roles. I feel we've been doing a really effective job of being a council of 3 to 4 people. And that includes Rajula and Kazlan have been involved for well over a year in that. So it's a lazy consensus decision that starts with us. And when it comes to changes to the overall team. And the other thing is we want the shadow. So Jason's been shadowing me on and off for 8 months now, I think. Want to keep him involved in the decision-making framework. I also know his job is adjusted and he doesn't have as much free time for upstream as he previously did. So I think something will work out really nicely.
Yeah, there's a 1-2 punch there, I feel like.
For sure.
Sorry, I'm trying to open your PR.
Yeah, no, you're good. So
I should do that after.
Yeah, big news.
Yeah, that's huge, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
awesome.
how many other parents are on this line, but I'm like, yeah,
I mean,
blown away that is even humanly possible.
well, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
one special thing you love is there's more selection for baby girl clothes than baby boy clothes. Like when we go to a store, we feel like, why there's only one wall for a boy and there's like a zillion walls for like a baby girl clothes, right? So you're gonna love that option of buying clothes.
It's gonna be wild.
So I had.
Did Chris freeze or me? It's like Chris.
Yes, probably.
Oh no.
Now it's good. Now it's good.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I've had network issues all week. Anyways, having a daughter at first and then having a son second, yeah, there's big differences, and having the options clothing wise is good because women's clothing is not standard, right? Like that's the weird thing, right? Like I can go buy a pair of pants. It's the same size no matter what brand I go get. For girls' clothing, it's completely different, right? Like
sounds like
every vendor has their own size, and yeah, you'll learn really quickly that like this line of clothing works for my kid the best kind of thing. It's pretty cool.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Well, all non-parents, thank you for listening along anyway. I would happily continue this conversation, but for the sake of folks that showed up for Kubernetes things, we can keep moving on. Yeah, so any major campaigns in progress?
I have added one in the big wins, the Katakota course that I just I did that Katakota resources yesterday only. I have put this link, I guess, in the docs. The ISO 6003.
Oh, cool.
So I have done this. I think the whole thing is done now. But the problem I discussed in the ContribEx bi-weekly meeting also, like it's presently hosted in my own GitHub repository. We might be requiring a new repository for this whole Katakota scenario in the Kubernetes as an author. Kubernetes as an author for this all courses. At present, I am the author and it's running from my repository. So I'll put that link also, the Katakota scenario.
Thank you. As far as that goes, I mean, we have a pattern to follow with contributor tweets. I feel like it could live under Kubernetes SIGs if need be. But it's awesome to know you're working on this and it's in flight kind of deal. I'm curious, Matt, I mean, how hard was it to get the repo and the SIGs area? Wasn't that just file a ticket kind of thing? Did Matt just go away, or was it me?
I think he got
Yes.
disconnected.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Stuff.
said
Yeah,
he's
he's
having
back.
some.
See,
Yes.
it's moving west. Whatever it is,
Good
it's
thing,
moving
good
west.
thing, I mean, is done.
Sorry, Matt. It's moving west, whatever it is.
Yeah, for real.
Is
Keep your
it
network
gonna
outages to
cross the
yourself.
ocean?
I don't know. We'll see.
Coming for you, Dema. Good Lord. Yeah, so I was trying to clarify what's the request right now? What's the next action we're looking for?
I am looking for a platform to host this from our Kubernetes, so that any other developer wants to change this or something in future, so that he or she could be able to do it. Because if it's like the course is live, but whenever you want to edit it, you have to come to my repository in which the Katacoda scenario is hosted and change it. So that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that makes sense. So if we want to, Kazan, if we want to get a project like that into, it would probably go into the Kubernetes-SIG namespace on GitHub. And I just don't know if there's precedence of hosting Katacoda classes. Maybe there is.
I don't think we have any Katacoda things in the community.
Yes, I tried to search for it, but there wasn't any other repo present. So otherwise, we would have hosted it there itself.
Great. Okay, so I think that's what the copy editing. So I think the current issue that we have open is for copy editing it. So why don't we get somebody assigned to copy edit it, and we'll open the next issue of moving it to Kubernetes-SIG. So other people can participate. And then the question would be for the contributor ContribEx team of like, hey, are we comfortable like committing to this going forward? Do we want to own this sort of asset? Because, as I think the advantage of it being in your repo is that you own it, and that means you're going to maintain it or not, and that's okay. And the advantage of it being in the SIG one is that it's a community asset, but that means we have the obligation to update it. And it could go either way. Like both are great, so we'll figure out which one's right for people. But yeah, it sounds like step one is need somebody to spend some time in it, like helping with the copy.
Yeah.
Yes, now you can go through the courses in the scenario itself. It's like in my Katacoda repo. So
Cool.
Any reviews are okay.
Great. Okay, so we're looking for somebody to do that. And
okay, cool.
I'm just gonna add a note on this, looking for someone to review the scenario and doing and since this isn't promotional for you, and it doesn't have to do with your company, like I think this is something we could tweet out as like, hey, there's this new asset if anyone wants to review it.
Yeah,
I think that would be a fun way to get it moving along.
yes, also in the initial HackMD file that I had regarding this whole thing, I just got it reviewed by DIMS in the other issue that was going on, like regarding the discussion of what all needed to be included in the courses. So I got a positive review on that, but I am yet to get any review on the Katacoda scenario itself, because at that point of time, it was not hosted in any scenario, and I just hosted it yesterday.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's really impressive work. I think Katacoda is just such a nice interface to get hands-on too. So
Copy editing, repo. I'm assuming you want it to live in the Kubernetes SIGs org.
that's what I heard.
That's the preferred place, right? As opposed to your personal repo. So yeah. see if we can get working on that somehow.
Okay. So here are a few steps. Yeah, one, looking for another hands-on review. Two, tweet that. Three, migrate to SIG or org. Let's discuss in comms or in ContribEx.
You just need a GitHub admin, right?
Yeah, well, I think it would warrant a conversation in ContribEx on the kind of ongoing commitment. Like a repo like that is forever a little bit, unless we, like, do we have ownership? Do we have, do people feel like it's something that it's going to be in the right place and we'll have the right people to review it when changes come in? A pull request is forever, a repo is even more forever. Cool. All right, so I think step one is to get some hands-on review, and we'll try to, anyone want to volunteer interest in doing so now?
To review the Katacoda?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Katacodas, but I would check it out. I mean, I've done a few of them, but
yeah,
I've never written one.
I've helped contribute to one before. I didn't stand it up from scratch like this though.
I contributed to one as well. If it's about review, I'm happy to review as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think between
Perfect.
the three of us, we should be able to figure this out. 4 of us, I mean, whatever. Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's say by next week, if not having 3 reviews, we'll have at least 1 review of the Katacoda, and then from there we can get it into our Twitter workflow, and then somebody can champion it in the ContribEx conversation so that we figure out that next step organizationally.
And this
Cool.
was an async week for the ContribEx meeting. So in ContribEx meetings, in the ContribEx meetings channel, there's like a pre-made thread where we could throw this in there and be like, hey, we want to talk to people about this. So that'd be one way to do it.
Yeah.
They opened that yesterday instead of on Wednesday. So they're already a bit delayed on that anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah, I also brought it in the bi-weekly meeting, and I suggested that to come up with the Katacoda and then go to the steering for this, because they were the ones who need to give permission about repositories. So I didn't reviews at that point of time.
Okay.
Okay.
And steering. Okay. I'll cross that out.
I don't even know how to engage steering.
There's a channel.
I mean, I know, but like,
That's what we do here. We figure it out.
yep.
Yeah, they asked me to open an issue in the repo itself, in the steering repo itself for this, but yeah, I wasn't having this whole thing prepared at that point of time to get reviews. So.
Okay, good. So maybe after review and we feel good about it, we can get an issue open in the steering, and they'll take it from there. Cool. I love it. All right. I don't see anything listed under campaigns in progress to jump into, but anyone mostly see?
Yeah, in campaigns in progress, I think the APAC Meta Contributors Series blog is going on. So that's going on fine. We have a meeting on our own now. And from bi-weekly, we shifted to weekly just this week.
Oh, wow.
Things are going on rapidly. So yeah, that's the update on that.
Great. That's wonderful. Okay. New items, contributor site SEO. Who can talk through this?
That's me. So there's kind of a need to build up the presence of the contributor site. basically, increase the contributor site in ranking. When
Yep.
people type in contributing to Kubernetes, we'd like that to be one of the first things that pop up, right? Like, that'd be cool. So there is already Bob set up the DNS records for Search Console. Somebody was looking to get that access to the Search Console for Google, so we can like figure out if there's any errors in what we're doing or whatever, that like you have to be able to see what Google sees kind of thing. So after that, it's really just like a link building campaign, which I kind of wanted to discuss here because I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
No, I've just been pumped about this since we talked about it, because I basically studied technical SEO for the last 3 years as part of my job.
Right.
Which I thought it was just going to be kind of.
No, it's.
At first, I thought it was marketing junk, to be rude about it. But I actually love marketing, and I love this stuff because it's really about building interest and credibility, and like you have to have the technical scaffolding in place, which Google Console will reveal. But the number one thing I think this group can do is to make it clear how to write for that site and what to write about. And if we do that, that is the link building. The link building is from having content that people want to link back to over and over again, new, fresh ideas every week. And I think the distinct value that site could provide is like, how do you contribute to Kubernetes? What do your dot files look like? How do you customize via VS Code or Vim or Emacs? What YAML linters do you use? What sort of, like all the little nuances of being a Kubernetes contributor dev, or whatever level of interest, like how we use HackMD, actually. Like that's a great article. And each and every one of these has long-term SEO value, and the aggregate will uplift the entire website. And I'll grab a link. I'm trying to look for it right now, but there's a Northcut is this SEO studio that actually has a list of all the known influences on SEO for a website, and whether it's been confirmed by research or it's been debunked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff has changed year over year.
Yeah.
And this is like my go-to North Star, all the right answers site.
So when I was doing a previous job, I had a side gig doing SEO. This was the early aughts. And what's funny is those skills still pay off today, right? Like stuff I learned in 2002 and 2003 about SEO still really counts, right? Like Google still wants quality content, quality links, and everything else will just fall in place from there, kind of thing, right? Like, so having a good checklist of debunked things, I think that would be super helpful, because a lot of people go down rabbit holes when it comes to SEO that aren't worthy of that time, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's kind of the way, at least organizationally, it's bifurcated, is there's technical SEO of, do we have the right right stuff in our header information, the right index files in the right places, so that search engines can crawl the site appropriately. So it'd be great if we had somebody who wants to look into that. And then the other thing is about like the building, like the links, so that it rises. And for me, like the number one thing I learned is if we can make a great contributor strategy for it, it'll grow so quickly, because there's just so much to write about and so many people are interested in it. Ranking factors, there we go.
I can't wait to see this.
It's
the anticipation is palpable.
Here, I'll share here, and I'll share my screen real quick.
Yes.
Hosts. Oh, I am the host. No, I got kicked off because of the internet.
Oh no. Who's the host?
I don't know. You? Me?
No.
So,
is it?
You are now the host. Somebody just gave it back to me.
Yeah, I was the host for some reason.
Oh, you're the first one on.
There you go.
Great, just taking stuff over. Proud of you. Cool. Just want to show you this for those who do want to learn some more. This Google ranking factors. by the numbers, Google is, I think it's like 96% of search traffic. So, and DuckDuckGo and Bing and other ones basically follow their lead. So focusing on Google search will positively affect it. And they basically rank things from a myth to a fact, and by, positive on page, negative on page. So if we like focus on myths for a moment and scroll down, like meta keywords, Google never rewarded meta keywords. Google Analytics, so they allegedly don't give, there's no evidence that they will give you priority if you use Google Analytics. If we focus in on facts, I might have just broke this.
Book a free consultation.
Yeah, they're trying to make money, so respect. Oh, that's what it is. Need to. No. Okay, well, this slider clearly doesn't like me as much as I thought it did. Let's just look at all of them.
It's not sure.
Let's look at some concrete ones. So keyword is in the URL. Keyword is in the title tag.
Key phrases in the header tags, very important.
Yeah. So these are things that basically, there's a lot of nuance to this, and it's really fun to look through. I think every engineer deserves to have good SEO, and it's kind of fun to learn that.
Yep.
But the short version, like, I feel like the cheat code to this is that if all of us wrote one thing we do on a regular basis in order to contribute back to Kubernetes, that will be better than so much other stuff we could try to throw at this. But that means the README on this repo has like a clear, you can contribute to this, here's the kind of stuff we want you to contribute. And that this team is kind of building a campaign around like, hey, we officially are looking for contribution to the site. Here's what that means, here's how to do it. And I really think this is the right group of people to do that. So, end of pitch there.
I'm just looking through the things that are concrete myths.
It's fun. But so who brought this up? Chris, did you add this to the agenda?
I added it to the agenda because other people, somebody in chat mentioned it. I even think it goes back to a conversation at KubeCon, to be honest with you. Was that right, Deborah? Was that something we were talking about before KubeCon or not? I forget, but yeah, I know.
We just had a chat regarding this last week, I guess. After, and in the upstream marketing meeting also had a chat with Jason, and he helped me with starting with it. And I guess commented on the original issue regarding this SEO, and I'm trying to help with it. And I'm quite new to SEO, so I'm learning how to do all those stuff and see wherever we can do the change now. So
yeah, like there's a lot like this, like switching the slider all the way over to fact is very helpful because it took me years to learn this stuff, right? Like always having fresh content is vitally important. Linking to authoritative sources is vitally important. So like linking to docs, for example, like that's going to help everybody out, right? So, and like having, the stuff we already have in place, like it's using SSL, it's, on a good provider, all that helps, right? I know some people say the page ranking stuff, or not the page, the PCP, whatever it is in the Search Console, like that's what matters most. It's not actually the case, right? There's a lot of little things that matter a lot.
Yeah. And just to focus us back, like the real cool core of this, like why should any of us care? It's like we want people that search Google about Kubernetes to land on the right site.
Yep.
And if we want kubernetes.dev to be the right site, we have to help it start to outrank even ourselves of kubernetes.io. And GitHub is a very authoritative site, but if we add fresh content that isn't going to be in a GitHub repo, it will elevate this page. So like I think we should put our brains together to like frame this as a full campaign so other people can join us on the path. but I am fully on board with like us writing up how to do this, and then being the first kind of examples of how to do it well. Like every single person here has done something. Deba, if you went into like how and why I use Katacoda to build a tutorial for Kubernetes users, like that could be a 3-4 paragraph thing with a couple pictures, and you'll be done. It's stuff that's like fresh on your mind, and that's an awesome article. Yeah. So this is, we all have really good ideas just by looking at what we've done today.
With noticeable formatting. That's a weird way to put, just use bold and italics and underline.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of interesting steps. But yeah.
Is this something like we have a checklist for articles or something, like blog posts that we try to publish? Is this something we should be like, yo, SDO, somebody needs to do a pass on this for that?
Yeah, there's a checklist in there. I don't think we explicitly call it SEO, because I just don't know if we have that sort of skill set broadly on the team. But maybe if we add it and then add advice to it, like, hey, look through this Northcut list, and here are some layup things of like, the number one thing I've done at work is like take these URLs that are like 15 dashed words and reduce it down to 2 words that are exactly the keyword phrase we want people to go after. And lo and behold, like you just watch it rank higher. It's wild. So we've been running experiments of, can you update URLs and a little bit of content and see if it ranks higher? And more often than not, like that's enough on a authoritative site to change the ranking. To be specific, I work on opensource.com, which has had millions of readers per month for 10 years. So, just to set expectations, a site like this won't just leap to the front.
No,
but
it takes months, but yeah.
But like, this is open source, like many hands make light work moments, where if we get even 100 people to write some stuff and submit it, like that's at a speed that no one else can go. We'll just churn it out.
Right.
So what ideas do people have on like how to socialize this? Like, how can we make it fun and engaging?
One question I have is, do we need to think of the different tasks separately? And what I mean by that is having it come up in the search SEO, this is one sort of task. The other task is like the page itself. Like right now, if I look at the page, this is the giant feature image, which takes up the whole screen. It doesn't have a call to action. Like probably a lot of websites, they have these image or video and then a very easy to see call to action, probably somewhere. So how do we rank, let's say, the blogs, the articles? Because as a new user to this website, I want to be able to find stuff very easily. Besides, like when it points me to a blog, like how it keeps a user to a site for a longer time, so that does it show this recommendation of a related post? So I think that's a separate discussion then, but all are equally important. So did we have any guideline before or any kind of discussion before on how to organize the website and then how to promote the website with consistent content?
So to be honest with you, I think the only thing really kind of just off with the homepage is the fact that we say welcome, but it's not the actual welcome page. There's a welcome page. That should be the homepage, to be honest with you. I don't know why we did this way. It might be a doxy thing. It might be just, not thinking about SEO at all. I mean, the picture that this is great. You're right. It needs a call to action or something else. But then I see, oh, welcome. Oh, that's a really good homepage, right? Like, that might make more sense. I don't know.
I can offer some context.
Yeah.
That I know this was stood up like with some urgency around the contributor summit last year. In particular, so Bob was kind of product managing it, if you will, and getting it out the door. And we wanted it to give a sense of you see the people that you're engaging with in the community at a time when we really couldn't see each other.
Nice.
But that has come and gone. So I think
Right.
it's ready for fresh revision. Bob has very loose ownership of it, and I'm sure he'd love some new ideas and just a PR to update it.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of room to change the site because it had a specific purpose a year plus ago, and then that purpose is passed, and now there's just other stuff to do.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to claim some ownership over it, like
Where's the repo for it?
I think it moved into
Yeah.
Kubernetes.
Did it move into KK? Okay.
Not K. It's Kubernetes contributor site. I'm grabbing the URL now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I love how you listed that out, Dewan, of like the separate tasks, because they all matter. Like the front page being clear for people, it is nice. So I just added the link down here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, improving the homepage. Yes. PR is welcome. I don't mean to be trite about it, but it's just like TLDR why this was designed, how it was designed.
Oh, that makes sense.
I guess we could start with an issue and add on the list of tasks to be done and get them done one by one, and so that it could be tracked properly at one place.
Totally agree. That's a great call.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wonder, I think I opened an issue. Let me see if it's still open in there. On like turning this into a blog. Okay. No, I don't see that. But there's some interesting issues in there. I think if our team wanted to feel some sort of, we don't have to feel like owners, but we can be contributors. We want to contribute to the site intentionally to help it rank. And that's one of our 2022 goals for this team, is to help this go from irrelevantly ranked to at least on the front page. So we want to work from a goal backwards, maybe listing some of the search terms. We're like, we want, when somebody searches contribute to Kubernetes, that this site shows up. Like we could then do the work and use the tools to reverse engineer how to get there. And I'm happy to, I've already paid for all this software that will help with SEO wins. I'm happy to inform some of that.
One other content I can think of, I think we talk about this a lot often, like what goes on kubernetes.io/blogs and what type of content goes here. So maybe a quick blog or any write-up, even that what goes on to kubernetes.dev, because many of us get that question frequently, so that we can just point out to this document or blog that this is what goes on to kubernetes.dev and not kubernetes.io/blog.
And even that's kind of fuzzy, right? Like even socializing that doc and just getting it out there, right, would be important, because I was just talking to one of the docs team members on my team, and he was like, I have this blog post, maybe you can help me get it on one of the blogs, maybe. And it was like, well, which one? CNCF, Kubernetes, dev, what do you want? And he was like, well, I guess it makes sense to put it on CNCF, but it could also be on the dev site too. And I'm like, see, so having something in that vein would be great as a doc on this site, I feel like.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones where we can be clear about what, if we set the intention of like what kind of stuff we want, like there will be articles that can go to many places, and maybe should, because like you can repeat content, you don't get dinged for it if you link back to it.
Yeah.
So repurposing and reusing is not a bad thing. But like if we set the intention of like, hey, we're actively, like if that kubernetes.dev page had a share how you contribute to Kubernetes, and it links and it tells you how, and it links you to the repo to open the PR, like that is
Share
pretty
your story kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're reviewing those PRs in this meeting so that they don't just languish, because no one else is looking there, rightfully so. So I think it could be really cool for us, but it is also, to your point, Chris, contrasting when to use which. So the the Kubernetes blog, if you think from like a persona point of view, the user of Kubernetes is going to the Kubernetes blog. But I think the contributor to Kubernetes can come to our blog here by default. And will there be overlap? Of course. Like if you're often both, but there's at least the same default. Like, why does this exist versus that existing?
Makes sense.
Yeah, we could also mention about, like, you know, it's strictly for the upstream developers, and end users can like hop in between. Like for upstream developers, mostly this website will be important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. I think, yeah, we don't, this is a very cool goal for this team.
Could an example be, like a concrete example would be, let's say someone would want to write like, what is a pod? I know it already exists. So what is a pod would go onto Kubernetes IO / like whatever basics or ideas, but how to write about or how to contribute about Kubernetes basics, like that kind of blog would go into Kubernetes.dev.
Nailed it. Yeah. You just like wrote out the decision tree that that people need.
Yeah. Right, like make a picture.
Yeah.
We can put it in the repo. Be like, should you be writing here or here?
I'm tempted to make an NFT. Until someone copy and pastes.
That's not what we do here in open source. But maybe it could be. I don't know.
I don't know yet. Yeah. For all that is holy. Cool.
That's funny.
Okay, so I think the action I heard is like a few of us will open fresh issues on that repo and commit to reviewing them in this meeting to decide like what concrete next steps we want to take. Yeah, exactly what you're saying, Sandapan. Yeah, and like to have a call to action on that site. Like, I don't know how much web deviness we'll need to get there, but I know there's appetite. Cool. Well, hey, I want to just acknowledge the release lead. Ray has been chilling out this whole time and is doing the amazing work. Yeah, so first off, thank you. Second off, before in our last 5 minutes is like, is there anything that this team can do specifically to help you as you roll forward?
I think we're good. I actually came here with my SIG Docs hat on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, what's up?
Because I'm a reviewer, so I reviewed the blogs and I've reviewed several blogs from this group as well. So just kind of want to see like what's coming up and like, you know, what should be on a radar to review. So I kind of have that hat in mind.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the .dev conversation we were just having?
That's actually perfect. We've actually had a similar conversation on a pull request like that, where we've actually suggested, hey, it should be under Kubernetes.dev instead of k.io. So we had that same exact conversation. Cool. There should be a guide with that, but
yeah,
somewhere.
And when you say
like how to contribute your contributions, right? Like.
And I was looking, there's, you know, we have that contribute link, and maybe I think we should have something like that on that page.
And could you link to which page you're talking about? I want to make sure. There's so many places we could make a call to action. I want to go for the most relevant in your opinion. Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So you'd be open to us. Oh, this is cool. That diagram is new since I last checked this out. I love diagrams. Could we maybe add like a section to this page on like the different places you can write about contributing and have that same sort of diagram vibe?
Yeah, and I could actually make a pull request and people could add their comments on that.
Cool. That'd be wonderful.
Wow. So I'm looking at other ways to contribute at the bottom of that doc. And it's like, visit the Kubernetes community site, which it is a thing, but then we should have a bullet point, right? Like somewhere.
Kubernetes community site.
Somehow.
Yeah, and that Kubernetes community site is the .io/community.
Mhm. But then
which is-
there's the actual, like, there's some contributor site versus community site. Like, is that any confusion there?
For sure. Like, we've got to
Yeah.
accept that we have many forms of the same thing, and
Mhm.
fixing for that at the same time is trying to I'm staying focused on the goal. If we want to uplift
Got it.
.dev,
Yeah.
let's focus on uplifting .dev.
Okay. Cool.
Renaming things is, I don't know.
Hard.
It's been
Yeah.
the bane of my last couple months, so I'm just going to avoid that here. This is supposed to be fun.
And you get a new thing, you got to give a name too. So that's got to be
Oh,
hard, right?
that one's
yeah.
easier.
Oh,
Funny
okay,
enough.
good.
Yeah, just not telling people. I didn't realize how many family members would be angry that we're not telling them our daughter's
Yeah.
name up front.
I got that with my son because I was like straight up told my dad, "You're not going to find out till he's born," and he was pissed. He was just
this is my life right now.
now.
Yeah, I'm a good son. I do not like pissing off my mom, but that was very
Right.
much the energy. Like, how dare you not tell me?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
what?
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, fun times. So, ton of action items to follow up on, but I think this is awesome. I'm so energized by all of y'all's contribution. I think it's wonderful where we're going, and I'll be here next week with kind of the move forward plans, and then passing the program management chalice. I don't know. We don't really have an object since we're all virtual, but at least the virtual hat, I will be passing that on. So thank you.
Passing
all
the
for
cat, as in KubeCon EU virtual 2020.
Yeah, passing the cat. I still keep that image of you accepting a stuffed animal. And in the first sort of talk we did on this group at KubeCon, Kaslin and I passed things on and off screen, and I moved my cat and she grabbed a stuffed animal. It was like, wait a minute.
I was extremely disappointed.
Yes, that is really cute. I was extremely disappointed. Yeah, that's real. Any last thoughts? Try to keep us on that 10:50 timeline that we set. Good. All right, y'all. Thanks a ton. Great to see you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.